with your gamer goggles, gamer-goggles.com, and today we have another figure forged for you. This is Arena Rex's Ludus Magnus Starter box. Should be a pretty simple starter to put together, especially a couple of these guys are just going to go around. Now these pieces are resin, so when you cut them apart, take a little bit more care. They also have a little bit of cleanup, you know, a little bit of I'm going to call it flashing. My cat is meowing out the window at probably a chipmunk. So I'm going to start by putting the guys on their bases. Now I'm using a gel glue. Of late I've decided I prefer that. I like to put models on their bases first for figure forges because I find it easier to hold the base while I'm assembling the model. Generally, I like to put together 5 to 10 figures at a time, but the starter's only 3 figures. I also didn't clean everything perfectly off of their feet because I wanted the extra glue to fill in there. Now I'm just going to let them rest for a couple seconds. Watch a psychotic kitty cat. Tail about to break a window. Cats. So I am going to go ahead and move on, and I'm going to grab his head and put his head on, and that will actually complete that model. Now, painting these figures should be pretty cool because there's a lot of flesh, and if you're wanting to learn how to paint flesh tones and stuff, these figures, these gladiator style figures, are really good for that. Oops, I knocked him off his base because I didn't wait long enough. So set him off camera for a minute, and then I'll come and I'll do, well, I started with him, so we'll do one of his arms first. See, here's a good example of some of that flashing. We'll zoom in a little bit. You can see that there. All you got to do, really, because it's resin, is it's so soft, is just take a sharp X-Acto knife and kind of run it down. You don't even need to really use the blade that much. All you gotta do is scratch it. Another thing that works really well is sandpaper. But what I was going to say when I picked them up is that the sword with the feathery tip, or the bandana, on his picture it's clearly a feather, goes in this arm. Now what I didn't do, I'm going to clean that off a little bit more because I didn't clean that off enough. Zoom back in there, buddy. Probably because my nippers don't want to get in there. Don't cut yourself. It is resin, so it's really soft and it's really easy to slip. I have done this and done this. That's not the best thing to do in the world. So I am going to check the fit. Pretty good fit. Put a little bit of gel on there. That was probably way too much for this little resin model. So I'm going to take some of that off. Where's my phone? Rub some of it off on a piece of paper off camera. And put it back on. Hold it until it sets. Which is actually proving to be very difficult today. Set him off camera, let him dry. And then I'm going to come to this guy. I'm going to do this arm piece because that is got another piece to go with it. So I'm going to do the arm first. Just hold that in there. Until it sets. Again, you can take a good look at the detail on these models. That's one of the advantages to resin is you get more detail. You don't get as much life out of the mold per se, but you get a lot more detail. And I'm going to set him off camera. I'm going to bring this guy back on. He's only got one more. Oh, man, did I just do it? I did. See, I didn't let it set long enough. Now you can use, hey, hi kitty cat. And you guys didn't get to see her. You can use an accelerant on this if you want. I am not a fan of accelerants. Now carefully, I'm going to come over to the other side and try and do this. Ta-da! Now I'm going to come back over here. I don't, see, his shield actually goes on his back like this. I don't know if I want to, wait for it to come in. I don't know if I want to put it on. But we'll see. We'll see. So next, I'm going to actually do this piece here because there's some funky stuff that's going on here. There, that is pretty much as good as it can. I'm going to file that down a little or just shave the knob off so it fits better. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue in here and a little bit on the edge of the base here. I'm not going to worry too much if it comes off, the base or if it is excess because I want this to be more correct than anything. And it's going to be a little bit tricky. I might have to come back with a little bit of glue on the bottom after he dries and glue the net down, but the net being actually off the base. See, I think if you look at it, it looks like they intended, and I just glued myself to the base. It looks like they intended for this to wrap around the base, but if you look at his hands, and you look at his hands here, the picture in the concept art is a little bit different. So it changed the way the net falls. Now I can, after it dries, I can push this back a little bit so it's on the base a little bit more because it's resin and it's pliable. I don't know if I want to put that kind of strain on it. I'm not a fan of things hanging off the base, but the net's hanging off the base enough that it's not going to matter. It's always going to be off the base. And now his Trident piece goes in there like that. Just a little bit of glue. I have to hold it till it sets. because it's a little pewter piece, is actually really difficult. Now on this model, what I might do is put some kind of rock here so that the Trident's actually resting on something as well. And there you go. That's actually all three models assembled. Like I said, I'm not going to put the shield on yet. The shield goes on his back. I want to be able to paint everything. So I'm not going to do that just yet. But that is the starter for Arena Rex's Ludus Magnus starter box. Thanks for watching, guys. Been another Figure Forge with Matt Lemke from 3Gamer Goggles, gamer-goggles.com.